So, it is day 3, everybody. Day 1, uno, due, tre. And I think using Italian numbers is very fitting because I have not left the house now since 3 days ago, because I can't remember what day it is now. What day is it actually? It is Friday.
I think it's Friday now. I think it's Friday.
I'm not seeing when the sun comes up and comes down. I'm just watching a hell of a lot of content on the interwebs and playing Half-Life Alyx, Rule 34 Half-Life Alyx.
You kiss your mother with that mouth?
So, that's what I've been doing. And Ralph, what have you been doing?
Well, lately I've been playing through Black Mesa, actually, in preparation for my Half-Life Alyx playthrough, and I'm absolutely loving it. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, Sam. That's Layman Live pre-show bants, and this is not Layman Live. This is a proper news show.
Today
we've got 3 stories for you. We've got what's going on with AMD and its stuff getting stolen, and Xbox the hostage situation with their GPU tech. We've got Bleeding Edge kind of bombing super hard, it seems, and also hints of a new Mass Effect game. So why don't we drop it, Sam?
All this and more after the drop.
Okay, our top story for today. Hackers have stolen the Xbox Series X graphics source code and they're holding it to ransom. So the way this works is that a blog post on the AMD website is what gave this away, right? And this is what it says. I'll read it to you in full. At AMD, data security and the protection of our intellectual property are a priority. In December 2019, we were contacted by someone who claimed to have test files related to a subset of our current and future graphics products, some of which were recently posted online but have since been taken down. While we are aware the perpetrator has additional files that have not been made public, we believe the stolen graphics IP is not core to the competitiveness or security of our graphics products. We are not aware of the perpetrator possessing any other AMD IP. We are working closely with law enforcement officials and other experts as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. So, it turns out this guy basically hacked into AMD's mainframe and he got access to two of their GPU source codes, one in relation to the Xbox Series X and what it's using, and also what's called Big Navi, which is the next generation of AMD GPUs.
We're gonna get the best retard specialists in the world.
This person is demanding $100 million.
$100 million.
Otherwise they release the Snyder Cut. No, they'll release all the
yeah, of course. I really think that most people are like the GPU source code. What? Like, I mean, how valuable is this to the normal person? Like,
well,
really?
Not to the normal person. Has nothing of value to us, but to this company, it's worth billions because it's their proprietary IP and like their technology pipeline for the coming generation. And if Nvidia gets their hands on it, they'll be like, yoink, thank you very much. We'll just take those ideas and bring them into our next gen stuff and make it even better.
I wonder if they can do that though, because wouldn't that be kind of illegal?
I'm sure there's all sorts of dodgy ways they could, like, you know, include it but not include it and whatever else and whatever. But look, at the end of the day, this is a company that's built entirely on this source code and like what they're able to do with it, and to have it stolen from them, it's kind of a big deal.
Because I think I know what's really going on here, okay? I think Sony is trying to steal the source code, okay? They want to make sure that Xbox has a real big problem before they come out. They've called their good buddy Solid Snake and saying, you know when we used to be exclusive with you? Well, we need a favor from you now, bud. That's right. Go and get that source code from us.
And Snake's like, AMD.
AMD.
They're like, it's on the second floor basement. So look, anyway, that's the story for them. We'll keep tracking it. I don't imagine that AMD are planning on forking out $100 million to some random internet hacker dude probably living in his mom's basement. Am I right, guys?
Am I right?
And,
well, look, if they're gonna give him $100 million, I did it. Please help. Just send me the $100 million,
that's
please.
Right.
We got him.
So our next story, unfortunately, brings us no pleasure to report on, and that is Bleeding Edge. Kind of looks like it's bleeding bombed.
Bleeding badly. It's bleeding badly, everybody.
That's right. Look, this was a game that we played at E3, and we were very excited about. It felt really fun to play there, but it seems like it hasn't really translated to a great final product that's going to keep people engaged. Now we have some data to look at how this game has launched. First of all, we can look at Twitch viewership, which we know isn't everything. Don't get me wrong, lots of successful games have crappy Twitch viewership, but it's a factor, especially on the launch of a game, where it really does, I think, give some indication of overall interest. And generally speaking, it's not going great. The time of recording right now, it's got 844 live viewers total. And it's like ranked 130 out of all games at this point in time. That's very bad. For a game that's brand new, that's very bad.
Yeah, it just came out very bad. And look, it's one thing if the Twitch matters. It doesn't always matter, but it definitely matters when you have a multiplayer game. And those numbers aren't great. And look, on top of that, the Metacritic score isn't great either.
Yeah.
We're looking at a 70 Metacritic score. We've only got 8 critic reviews, but still bad. And also the user score is 6.6. So not only are the critics not liking it, but the people, for the people, are not also enjoying this game.
And
now,
I feel like that user score is going to be pretty tight, by the way, because I don't imagine people are review bombing this or they're trying to, pump the number artificially. I feel like everyone's pretty chilled and relaxed about, hey, this is a game. I don't think we're seeing Death Stranding levels of, anger when it comes to the user score ratings,
Exactly. There's no backstory to this for anyone to get angry about or anything like that. Look, the only thing I think that they've gravely done wrong is they've made you pay for this, and that's just the dumbest thing ever. This
that's
should have definitely been a free-to-play model. 100%.
Well, I agree with that. We'll come back to that point. I will say one last data point I want to talk about is Steam charts. Now, to be clear, the majority of people who are going to be playing this game, the overwhelming majority, are going to be playing it on Xbox or on Game Pass, okay? So they're not going to appear on Steam at all. However, the game is also available on Steam, and right now it's peaked at a concurrent player count of 785 players. That's the all-time high since its launch this week. That's a very, very low number. And you might say, well, obviously, Game Pass, whatever else. I agree, absolutely. However, we can compare it to something like Halo Master Chief Collection, which is also available on Xbox. It's also available on Game Pass. It spiked only recently at 34,000 concurrent players with the launch of Combat Evolved, the original Halo being re-released in Master Chief Collection on PC. And even right now, it's averaging at about 7,200 concurrent players at this time of recording.
Yeah.
So,
look, I think they're very different. I think they're different situations, of course, because one of them is a gigantic IP,
of course,
the other one's a brand new IP. But I think what's really happened here is, and look, Bleeding Edge is also owned by Xbox right now. I think they have exclusivity of them, right? I think, so what's happened here for me is there's no branding around this. There's a few bits and pieces that we've seen along the way, but not a lot of people were excited about this. We've got Half-Life Alyx, that's come out recently. We've got Doom that's come out recently.
Totally.
We've got the Prony pandemic, which of course is, making people look at the news a lot more than maybe playing a game they've never heard of before. So there's a few things I think there, but I just think ultimately for them not to go free to play is the death of that.
I think so, yeah. I mean, look, I feel like, yes, it's on Game Pass, which everyone thinks it's basically the same as free, but the fact is it's not. There's a lot of people who simply do not sign up to things like Game Pass because it requires a credit card or whatever else, or they just don't have the money to spend on that. A lot of people right now in particular are really struggling, and so you and I might think, hey, Game Pass, it's basically free, but the reality
because
is
we're rich, everybody, you see?
But I'm saying is the reality is it's not, and I think that this game would have had a lot more chance of success if they just reduced those barriers to entry, and anyone could log on and start playing Bleeding Edge right now, no matter where they were, in what circumstance, whatever. So I do 100%. Feel like that's a big fumble. I do feel as though the game itself is kind of lacking in that skill ceiling that would really keep competitive players engaged. I definitely noticed that as I played 5 or 6 hours of the open beta or the closed beta recently. I like this game. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. Do I want to play lots of this game? No, I don't. You know what I mean? I had my 5 or 6 hours with it and I was like, cool, I'm done. And I feel like a lot of people have come to that conclusion as well. And I really hold grave concerns for the future of this game, unfortunately.
Yep, definitely. And here's my segue. Ready? We should beware of how badly that game is.
Oh my god.
Speaking of beware, BioWare.
I wish Commander Shepard were right there. I wish Commander Shepard were right there in your room so we could punch you in the face.
Man. Now, BioWare is working on a new game from one of its most prestigious franchises. We all know what that probably means, everybody. Fallout. I didn't say
Fallout.
Fallout.
BioWare's
Of
working
course.
on a Fallout
Mass
game, guys.
Effect.
It's happened. It's Fallout Andromeda,
Fallout.
bringing together
It's
two
happening.
of the great successes of games.
It's happening.
Now, obviously, we've heard lots of rumors already that BioWare is working on a new Mass Effect game. They've hinted about it on Twitter.
They've hit it a few times.
We've heard it
seen
quite a
this
few
couple of
times, right? So,
Yeah.
however, we've got a job listing now that makes it look even more legit. The EA job listing calls for a technical director who will be the most senior engineering lead on the next major title in one of BioWare's most prestigious franchises. Interestingly, the job post also details that the role will require someone who's experienced with developing, debugging, and optimizing AAA multiplayer games on PC or console. Mass Effect's had multiplayer for a while now, so that's no surprise as well. Look, I don't think... We already know Dragon Age exists, and that's public, so this is definitely not Dragon Age. I don't think we're looking that BioWare is going to be making Jade Empire before they make another Mass Effect game. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's a most prestigious franchises that BioWare's working on, 99%.
It's Anthem, baby.
It's definitely either
Anthem.
Anthem or it's Mass Effect, one of the two.
Yeah.
So, you know, look, obviously the studio is very busy because it is working on Dragon Age. It is apparently rebuilding Anthem and doing like a whole Anthem next, Anthem 2.0.
Anthem 2 or whatever it is. Yep.
And now we've got these rumors of Mass Effect heating up. I do imagine that they're going to have to direct more and more resources as Dragon Age continues in development and then eventually starts to wrap up. They'll move those resources over onto a Mass Effect team. If the Anthem team is currently really engaged on rebuilding that game, eventually it's going to go into a live service category, and then those people will be able to move on to a new project like the Mass Effect game. So you can see the pipeline for this and how it makes sense. Obviously, nothing's confirmed, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get a Mass Effect game from BioWare in the future.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think it was probably their strongest IP back in the day, at least. You know,
unquestionably.
it's great to revisit that, and a lot of people will line up for that, even if they were disappointed with the last couple. But I think that you know, good old BioWare has hit it out of the park with Anthem. So I'm so glad to see them jumping on. Now, I wonder if Anthem Next or Anthem 2 is going to be taking a huge portion of that team, or if there's going to be quite a few people now working on, you know, the new Dragon Age and the new Mass Effect. Because if I was the company, I wouldn't be putting a hell of a lot of people on Anthem 2. I'd be putting a small staff, and then the rest would be working on these new exciting titles that I want to see, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see. We obviously don't know. We won't know until we hear more details about most anticipated game of 2020, Anthem 2. Move over Cyberpunk. It's really about the Anthem 2
Is it coming out
hype.
this year, though? I wonder.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it has to. Like, it's March, you know? Like, how long are they going to work on rebuilding a title that was released last year? Like,
Well, it took 6 years for them to get it
true.
to the state it was, so it's going to be out, guys, 2040, and I'm looking
right.
forward to it.
Anyway.
But guys, that is it for today. A couple of
is.
stories. We'll be back with a Layman Live tomorrow, Ralph. What do you think? Can we do a Layman Live like this?
I don't think we can do a Layman Live with this setup, no. We need to make some changes to it. But, yes, we will be back tomorrow, though. So, stick around, guys, and we'll see you then. Layman out.
Layman out!